So what happened was, I was in Ubon Ratchathani in Thailand, which is a very small farm town. They have no chemical agriculture anywhere within 90 miles that I saw. And they're right on the Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos borders right there. They're all just connected right there. And these two men that just came out of nowhere that are high in politics and everything in this town are trying to get me to build my health center there. And they're offering me 300 rai, which is 120 acres. And it's on a river, lake, and it's got everything, you know. So they took me out after they showed me the property, and, you know, we went to a karaoke bar, and everybody drank me. And they got snockered, so, but we were close to the hotel, so I wasn't worried, and they weren't, you know, the guy was just, I mean, we're going like 25 miles an hour. It's like a 35-mile-an-hour zone. And everybody's talking and, you know, having fun. There's a driver in the empty passenger seat, and then there's a monk, and then and the monk was drunk. And another passenger, and then my real estate broker, which I called my girlfriend. She's a friend who's a girl, and she was sitting to the left of me. We're in an RV, and I'm in the third seat with her. I've got the harness, you know, the seatbelt harness across this way, and all of a sudden everybody's talking, and I'm looking at the seat like 1:15 in the morning, and I was looking around, and I see this car coming with no lights, about 50 miles an hour, hit us. And as soon as he came to the impact, I lost consciousness because the harness didn't keep me in because it was on this shoulder. And we got hit on this side, so I flew this way. And my head hit the window, past her because she was leaning forward, otherwise I would have smashed her. And I wouldn't have been hurt as badly, but she would have been killed. But I went over here, and my head went through the window and caused a concussion. I've got an indent in my skull there, so it broke the skull. And in fact, a piece of glass came out yesterday. I didn't even know it was in there. I woke up this morning and oh, what's this? It's a piece of glass. Scratched right out. But it had been completely buried because I didn't feel it before. And my shoulder hit the molding, the side molding, and broke the clavicle and the shoulder blade, the shoulder of the, what do they call that, the collarbone. And the clavicle, when it broke, went through my neck muscles, through here, and then bounced back.
Wow.
And then I was out. I felt all that without pain. And then when I woke up, the car's upside, the RV's upside down, and that was an RV who hit us. We flipped over a couple of times, and when I woke about 40 minutes later, they're prying the doors open, and I'm barely coming to, I'm hearing all this going on, and they're smashing the other window to pull me out because I'm in the back, and the girlfriend was on top of me, and her feet, I guess, broke my ribs. I got 2 broken ribs here when we flipped over a few times. So she's in pretty bad shape. She got serious brain damage. So
Was she going to get out of it?
She's lost her vision.
She can get it back, can't she?
Don't know. She's not on the diet. She's not one of my clients. So
Does she still have her personality? Is she still who she is? Like when brain
Yeah,
damage?
she's still there.
Is she?
Yeah. She's not as bubbly and happy.
Yeah, really.
That's for sure. But, you know, she did something that I thought was rather ridiculous. You know, after the accident, we went to the hospital. And, you know, they were starting to break everything in the car to get me out because I'm way in the back. And they were able to pull her out to a door that they opened about this much. So starting to break all these other, you know, windows, and I'm getting glass across the eyes and face. So I screamed at them to stop. And then I worked my way, even with this shoulder in excruciating pain, out through the door, and then I tried to stand up. I mean, all this time, my vision is not, I'm seeing, I'm not seeing, I'm seeing other things that aren't there, and, you know, my vision was just crazy for a while. And when I got out of when I went to stand up at the vehicle, it was an immediate collapse, so they grabbed me, put me on a stretcher, strapped me in, and took me to the hospital. So in the hospital, I knew, I said, I've got to come to. I've got to really stay in tune, keep them from doing anything to me. So, so they put me in a wheelchair. After I got off the gurney to have X-rays done, I told the guy, I said, you have 2 shots. I told him in Thai, you have 2 shots to take. That's all you get. 2 shots of this X-ray. That's it. So he took 2 shots, and it showed the broken bones, but nothing was dislocated. So I didn't have to do anything. They wanted to put a cast on. I said, don't need a cast. Because the body, when you don't have a cast, the body will build its own cast. It builds, like you can see, a tumor here. It's as hard as a rock, and it's sealed right where the break was. And as it gets well, that bone growth goes back into the center of the bone and seals it harder. So that's how the body does it naturally if you don't use a cast. You have to be more careful so you don't dislocate it. So I had to sleep on my right side for a few days, and I took very thin slices of steak and wrapped them here on my neck and around here. So I slept for 2 days with steaks here like a boxer does. And let me tell you, I was in excruciating pain, and I'd put a steak on, within 10 minutes the pain would go. I'd take the steak off, or I'd fall asleep and it would fall off. I'd wake up in excruciating pain, put the steak back on, 20 minutes later, 10, 20 minutes later, pain's gone.
Wow.
How does that work? Why does the steak?
It just does.
How did you discover that? Was it intuitive?
Well, no, it's from the boxers. Boxers used to put
Really?
steak on their injuries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
Your skull is better now?
Yeah,
It
definitely.
came back?
I mean, I had a huge bruise here, and the ear was broken. All the cartilage was crushed, and it's still just a little sore right here. And then I've got a huge indent right here that's probably 2.5 inches by about 3/4 of an inch.
That's gonna go back?
I don't know.
What did you say your girlfriend did that was stupid?
Oh, the next morning, we probably got to the hotel about 2:30, and we were sharing the same room. She had one bed, and I had another bed. And I heard her at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's going to get on the plane because she lives in Chiang Mai, which is 700 miles from where we were. She had flown to Bangkok and then to where we were. And I had flown from Cambodia to Bangkok to where we were to look at that property. And she did not want to be stuck in a foreign town for her. So she got on a plane. You do not get on a plane when you have a concussion, because the brain expands, causes pressure, so that probably caused more brain damage. She flew to Bangkok and Bangkok to Chiang Mai.
She couldn't stay back for a while?
She should have,
Did you
but
tell her
she
that?
left. Pardon?
Did you tell her that about?
Of course I told her. So did the doctor. She did it anyway.
That's not smart.
And then she wanted to see me before I left, so she flies back from Chiang Mai to see me, and then has to fly back to Chiang Mai again. So, she just kept getting worse every time she got on a plane. Not a smart thing to do. Some people don't listen.
So was it difficult when you tell the doctors, only taking this X-ray, don't want any treatment?
Oh, they
They just, I'm sure they react pretty weird.
Yeah,
but
they're pretty crazy. And
they don't say, oh, this guy must have hit his head, he's not thinking right, and try and attack you.
well, I wouldn't let them touch my head. I didn't want them to know that I had a concussion. So I had to be clear by the time we got into the hospital room.
Oh, I see.
So we were in the emergency room. I was forced myself to think clearly, to stay focused, and I would only allow myself to drift in and out and get vision problems when I wasn't talking with the doctor. And first what they do is they went to everybody, where do you hurt? So they look at everything that hurts, and then they'll search other places if you let them. I said, I'm not hurt anywhere else. Here, but this is just bruised. You can see it's a little knot there. And how this got broken. Like I said, I don't know. I was unconscious when that happened.
What do you say, how long it's gonna take? Before you get
How long am I?
the pain to go away?
Don't know completely. But mainly the pain is if I lift this arm, I used to be able to not lift it at all. I couldn't move it for the first week. And I had to sleep on my right side for the first 2 days. I couldn't sleep on my back or stomach. And then by the third day, after a day and a half, I was strong enough to get to Bangkok, where my partners and other people I knew were, who knew my diet and knew how to get food and feed me. They did fine. Those people knew, I told them what I needed. They got me very, the freshest meat. It was butchered within hours, and like 2 hours, an hour and a half. Sliced it very thinly for me. One of the Thai wives did that, and they mixed my honey and butter because I had honey and butter with me, and they brought me some unripe bananas. So that's all I ate was the butter, honey, and bananas, and the butter and honey with the meat. And I was well enough 36 hours to get on a plane and get back to Bangkok, and then I spent 3 days in the bed mainly there. I walked, a few blocks a day to go to a massage place, and they do Thai massage for like $8 for 2 hours.
It's a good massage?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful massage?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I have them do it bow bow, which means very softly and gently. Otherwise, they get pretty tough, pretty strong.
I have a question about your concern about your concussion. It was like you were willing to expose your other wounds and hurts to the doctors. What was it about the concussion that bothered you, that you wanted to protect it from them? And also, it's like doctors, it seems like one of their skills that's useful is they can do things like, patch together nerves and certain, triage handling and stuff like that.
Usually in the brain, they can't do a good job.
But I
They
mean,
don't do a good job, yeah.
how was your thought about your diagnosing
Well,
yourself?
the only reason I was going here was if something was dislocated, I needed to get the bones put back in place.
Right.
There was nothing dislocated. They were broken, 4 breaks, but nothing dislocated.
I'm thinking about your head, though.
The head, there's nothing to dislocate. There's only a bruise in the brain. And if you may have a blood clot, there's really nothing they can do about it. And anyway, on this diet, you wouldn't get a blood clot.
But it was
in the brain.
dented, right?
Yeah, it was dented.
But you were confident that the dent wasn't significant,
Yeah.
so that's what, oh, got it, okay.
I mean, even if it were, I knew that they would not be able to help that. I just had to let my body clear it.
And if you had told them that you had hurt your head, they would have x-rayed your head.
Yeah, that's what they did to the other people. All the other ones got concussions except for the monk. He didn't get a scratch.
Something to learn from that
Your
monk.
bank account was protecting him.
Buddhist monk.
Or you were so drunk you were so relaxed.
No, the thing was,
No, I don't think it's the alcohol.
the thing was, he was leaning against the door that he was hit on. In
Yes.
his head, everything was already solidly against, so he didn't
What with the whole
slam.
thing?
I went from the passenger side, this right side of the car, all the way to the left side of the car
Yeah.
when that car hit us.
Wow.
Yeah, 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
wow.
So, I had a huge impact. He was right there all cushioned up against the door. He didn't get hurt.
You have great flexibility and you look great for having sustained such a...
Yeah. I've got a bruise all the way down here. The bruises are dead cells, mainly red blood cells, that have been damaged and are coming out the skin. The body throws it out to the skin. Can't take it all through the blood because then your blood would be quite thick and coagulated and rank. So it sends it out through.
Interesting.
What do we do if something like this happens to us? We don't have all the knowledge that you have. We don't know if we...
Well, that's why I'm putting it in the book. See, that's why when I was writing the book, I had these questions. They're all answered. Every question I had to answer. Yeah, so I can take people step by step, through it.
You better phrase the question a little bit differently next time.
No, I said, I deliberately said, and I knew it, that, I had no personal experience with severe accidents on this diet. And I took care of that. Hammer in the jaw, knocked my teeth back, and then,
What a man.
and then a car accident 3 months after that.
What you won't do for science.
I was telling everybody that I was happy when it happened to you, but that was a way to prove this diet works better.
Well, I know the diet works. I don't have to worry about
No,
that.
I mean
It's
just
that
good
what to
proof.
do in the
Severe.
situation
Right,
yeah.
where you're limited with food, you're in a foreign place. I mean everything. I didn't know anybody there. You know, didn't know any of these people.
So why can you not have a blood clot on this diet?
Pardon?
You say you cannot have a blood clot on this diet?
It's if you're following the diet rigidly, there's no way to get a blood clot.
Why?
Because everything is pretty resilient and elastic, so it'll expand without cracking and breaking. See, when you break something, you have a blood clot. It means that you've ruptured something, and it's broken, and there's no elasticity. It won't go back into place. So it creates a collapsed vein or artery, and the blood will back up around that area and create a clot. And it'll keep going until the body cuts the passage of blood off into that particular vein or artery.
Yeah.
So can you be on the diet just 6 months and have us be confident that your body works that way? Or does it
I wouldn't say 6 months, I'd say maybe a year, year and a half. It's doubtful, but I can't say for sure. And that I can never find out because I've been on the diet too long. But I've had other people who've had severe accidents. One fellow, he'd been on the diet probably about 9 months, and he had a severe bicycle accident where he opened his head like I did, only he took the skin off with the hair and everything because he slid when he hit a rock. And his whole collarbone was broken here like mine, but the whole skin was taken off. So he had a hole, a gap in his shoulder here, from the skin gone. So, he repaired in about 6 weeks. Wow. Completely. And what I did was I had one pretty open cut on my shin and on my chest. So I took a piece of meat and put it over it like a bandage, sealed up. The next day, I opened it and the skin was all repaired. We're talking skin missing.
Yeah.
The steak just like all the cells around were able to take all the nutrients from the meat and rebuild that tissue that quickly, overnight. We're talking overnight in about 12 hours.
Aajonus, I've noticed since I've been on this diet for, it's been about 4 years or more, 4.5 years.
But you've been off and on it.
Not very much though. But what I found is Band-Aids stick to my skin. I can't use Band-Aids anymore. Have you noticed that?
I don't use Band-Aids.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like something
Use a
that's
stick.
alive.
That's right. I'll take the thin piece and wrap it.
Yeah, that's great.
It's something that's alive
Yeah.
within my skin
Uh-huh.
is like trying to work on the chemicals of the Band-Aid or whatever, and it's
Oh,
so
yes.
stuck I can like barely peel it off. Yeah.
Because your body will absorb those adhesives, and there are polymers in those adhesives. All polymers are carcinogenic.
Oh, you're not supposed to use Band-Aid. Oh, good to know.
Not a good idea. This reminds me also, somebody had a huge, what did they call those, tabs or,
Skin tabs?
skin tabs, what do they call them now?
The little moles or something?
Yeah, they're like little warts or huge warts.
They call them tags.
Tags, yes,
Tags.
tags. I took a scissors and cut one off and put the meat over it. 5 hours later, it was sealed.
Wow.
Skin grew back. 5
And
hours.
so if you have a
5
cut on
hours.
your finger, just put meat on it.
Yeah, we'll wrap it around so it doesn't bleed.
And it has to be red meat for
Yes,
a lot of
yeah. I've tried chicken, it doesn't do the same.
You don't
Also, when you have
this.
this,
No, it's pretty dry by the time.
I was waiting, maybe there's some great benefit.
I don't know about that.
when you have a small cut, you can lick it and add the slice.
Yeah, but you have to understand the Thailand enzyme in the licking will keep taking the vitamin K and vitamin U out, so you're not gonna continue bleeding. You put the meat on, within a minute or two putting the meat on, it stops bleeding.
Not ground meat, just
You
red.
can put ground. I put ground on the one here.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
I just smashed it and put it on.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it adhered. It fused like, it was part of my system then, But I got in the bath and it just came off and all the skin was all replaced 12 hours later.
Did you try egg white?
No.
Or eggs, raw eggs? No.
It doesn't dry quickly enough, so it mixes with the blood and then you just keep bleeding. So you can't
Somebody-
use egg white.
Oh,
You
okay.
said urine, you put urine on a cut,
There's, I gave a seminar, a lecture in Georgia in 1981, I believe it was. And there was a retired police officer, he was about 80 years old, because I was told, people were asking me about urine therapy, he was drinking your urine to recycle your proteins. Because a lot of people don't eat enough proteins, they don't digest their proteins first time through. So if you drink your urine, you can provide that. A lot of Indians do that who can't get meat, maybe once a month or something like that. They drink their urine frequently in India. But he was telling me that before 1928, he was part of the Miami police force, that if they went to an accident or somebody had a severe cut, jugular vein or anything, one of the officers would urinate into a cup, one would pour it on the wound while they held it. In 1928, the medical profession had it outlawed.
Wow.
He said, we watched thousands of people die in the next 20 years because we couldn't do that. And just putting pressure on it doesn't work. He said, but for some reason, we pour that urine on and bleeding would stop.
That's just for a severe cut, or?
That was what he was telling me.
It
for
seals it?
severe-
I've been doing this for the last 1 year.
Pardon?
I've been doing this for the last 1 year.
What?
I drink my own urine. Every time I pee, I have a cup.
Well, some people do that.
I was in jail last week, and they hold me for 8 hours, and I started drinking my urine in front of them. I put my hair, and I was keep challenging them. And after 8 hours, they asked me, "Please go. You're starting right."
Good for them.
It was a very good experience.
But why did you go to the prison?
I was tricked by cops. I was walking in the street. A woman asked me to go out with her. I said no. She said, "You want to pay 50?" I said no. And then I wanted to shake her hand to leave, and then they jumped me and they called me a grabber.
Oh.
And I told them, if you don't let me go, I want chicken, I want beef, I want eggs, and all in my car, and go get for me. They freaked out, and after 8 hours, they asked me to leave. And everybody else was innocent too. They all said no to her, and they were all kids. They were all
They
being
all
framed
taking
up.
them in.
Just so they can get money through the
Yeah,
offices?
yeah.
That's a whole nother subject.
What about urine homeopathic?
Maybe not.
Well, I used to drink, when I was a vegetarian, I used to drink my urine because I had a problem digesting, problem with proteins. So I did drink my urine every day. But when I started on this diet, I had to stop because I got too acidic and irritable. And I would get fatigued from drinking.
What about your homeopathic urine? Like, you piss into a thing and then the homeopath makes a thing?
A tincture from it?
Yeah.
Well, anytime they make a tincture, they use alcohol or some other ingredient to alter the chemistry,
So I
so
can throw that
it
out
becomes
as
a
well.
chemical.
Okay.
Well, she was mentioning a homeopathic preparation.
That's right.
All homeopathics are just low-dose drugs.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I only
They have to
don't
use
always
drugs.
use
I only do
alcohol.
it desperate.
They always use some chemical,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
always a chemical,
It was
whether it's
changed.
alcohol or something else.
Change the
So,
composition of
Aajonus, when you were saying on this diet, you found that it wasn't beneficial to drink your urine.
Correct.
That's because you get so much protein that the body's constantly detoxing the old stuff out of the
It
tissues?
could be, and there's just too many toxins in the urine
Uh-huh.
to handle it. Some people still do it and are okay, but most people I found, in experimentation it wasn't good. And animals, animals will drink their urine, eat their feces only if they don't get the proper foods. But once they get the proper foods,
They stop.
they stop eating it,
Mhm.
It's
I
like
remember-
the Howell, Edward Howell. He did the experiments to repeat what what Pottinger did. Pottinger took the 900 cats for over a 10-year period, fed one group cooked, one group raw, and over that period of 10 years, all of the cats that were fed cooked meat and cooked dairy all got diseases, all the diseases of man. And the cats that were fed all raw had no diseases. Well, Hal wanted to do the same thing, but he didn't want to have the life expansion of a cat. And all the cats lived 1/3 the normal life that they would live if they weren't autopsied before, just to check their organs and everything. Because Pottinger let very few live their lifespan, just a few in each group. But Howell wanted to see how they would all live if they had their full lifetime. So he used rats, which live 3 years normally, healthy rats. And he found that the rats who lived, who were fed the cooked foods had all the diseases of man. The rats who had the raw foods had no diseases, but they all lived 3 years, both groups. And boy, it really confused him. So he went around for a year scratching his head trying to figure it out. Then all of a sudden he realized a note that appeared almost every day: these rats are eating their fecal matter.
Oh, wow.
And it was only the rats who were eating the cooked foods. So he redid the test, put a screen down, and they only lived 2 years instead of 3 years, plus all the diseases. So the fecal matter was very important for giving them protein, because in the bowels, your last stage of protein digestion, that's where the E. coli converts those proteins into B vitamins and compound amino acids, which backs up the nervous system. That's why almost all animals eat fecal matter to get the E. coli growing quickly. The pharmaceutical and the medical profession wants you to believe that bacteria is the whole problem of everything, when it's got nothing to do with bacteria. All animals living with bacteria for millions of years in complete harmony. No disease and no death. But the pharmaceutical and the medical industry, the pharmaceutical runs the medical industry. They dictate what happens in the schools and everything. So the doctors can't really blame them. You need to blame the pharmaceutical houses. So they want you to believe that bacteria is your problem.
Yep.
When bacteria just occurs as a consequence of disease, but does not create disease, but they're calling it just the opposite. Yet all of their drugs create more diseases, and there's no cure with the disease when you go their route. But if you look at other doctors of the period around Pasteur, who didn't believe in the germ theory, that believed in spontaneous, spontaneous eruption or transformation or transmogrification of one life form to another. Like you could take a certain bacteria and it could transform from a certain kind of salmonella to another form of bacteria, another type of amoeba that would help eat up certain decaying tissue.
Yeah, and there were studies where they would show that the bacteria would convert from rods to spirals and so forth.
Right.
And
And
that
each
they were-
one of them would have a different diet and clean up the garbage in the system.
Yep.
So all of these bacteria and parasites are very important for health if you're diseased. And the only animals that have disease are those that are poisoned by chemicals or those that are fed raw foods. So the diseases that, like mad cow and mad deer disease, that's a fallacy. The military was going around doing chemical warfare testing in Arizona, in Wyoming, Utah, that entire area, all through the 50s. And of course, those chemicals work over time, and each generation keeps collecting more of them and damages the system. Yet the deer don't get crazy. Their systems don't dissolve like that. They found the prions in them and said, "Oh, these are bad deer because we found the folded prion." But the deers their brains weren't dissolving. They didn't have like the humans have CJD, which means that the brain starts melting and turns into a sponge
Oh.
and just dissolves and, you know, melts. And the reason that cows have it is because they're injected with vaccines that have mercury in them, thimerosal, all vaccines. And these cows are getting injections every month. So that mercury starts collecting in a lot of them in the brain and nervous system, because mercury, especially liquid mercury, has a propensity to go into the nervous system. So when it collects in certain of these animals, and the worst diets that they have is they're eating byproducts of, you know, of food processing, which is no food at all, no live food, no enzymes, no vitamins, no nothing live. They're eating this bad food, and then the mercury gets into the nervous system. There's nothing to prevent the mercury from dissolving the brain, the nervous system. So that's why there's mad cow.
Now,
And it's not the prion that causes it. The prion is a result, not the cause.
now, wouldn't you have to argue that a little bit further? Because, I mean, the initial breakout was like in England, right? So, but I mean, those practices have been going on in the United States for a long time. So how would you
Longer in
explain-
England. England has been vaccinating cows since the late 1800s. In this country, it mainly started about the 1950s.
So you think it's a matter of the longevity of
Yeah.
that? Hmm. Do you have any other proof
There's
other than
also-
speculation?
No, there's actually documented evidence. You just have to find it on the internet.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. And also, there's another factor involved. Dow, Monsanto, and some of the other genetic engineers want all these natural animals dead because they're allowed to develop, genetically alter, even if it's just one gene they alter, they can patent that animal. Patent that animal. And what happens with patented crops? There's a case, you know, 2 years ago in Canada.
Oh, yeah, beautiful story.
This guy's, you know, he's got an organic farm.
Yep.
The next door neighbor has got genetically grown crops. The seed flies over to his, just along the border. Dow goes, Monsanto goes in and sues the farmer for growing his crops. He wins. Monsanto wins.
That's
So
right.
this farmer is now lost his farm to Dow because he was growing, not purposely, those crops along his borders.
And the reason they know that is because Monsanto, whenever they do the growing, they send out guys that examine and take samples from
That's
it. It's
it.
so fucking evil, I can't
Yeah.
believe it.
What do you mean?
And the courts are backing them up.
Yeah,
So the same thing is
much.
happening with animals. If you want an animal or a cow to grow it and it's genetically engineered, guess who you have to pay royalties to? You have to pay a percentage of every pound of meat that you sell to Dow or Monsanto.
That's a drug company.
They want to get rid of all these.
Chemicals.
They want to get rid of all the natural cattle.
it's
So
more
they can have
commonly known as the
patentable-
Church of Satan.
Yeah, it's patentable agriculture.
You know, so they had the death seeds, right? Monsanto had the death seeds that won't propagate, right?
Yeah.
So the way you're talking, so the next step is we'll patent the men in the planet. Okay, the sperm won't have any viability. So if you want to become pregnant, you're going to have to buy your sperm from Monsanto.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's the way it's going.
It's true, it's true. It is very true.
What?
That's why we have to look for it.
And if you want to breed your animals, they won't breed.
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
to go to Monsanto to have them artificially inseminated. $10,000 an implantation. That's if it takes. So they're just greedy business.
Yeah, it's beyond greed.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
way beyond
Yeah.
greed.
Anyway, that's a picture of how it's going. So I'm getting the frick out of this country. That's why I'm looking for land in Thailand and Cambodia, these places where it's still very primitive. Cambodia is phenomenal. I mean, they're still living in grass huts. Yeah, I mean, in the major cities, and there's like 8 major cities, and even it's pretty primitive there. They're eating, you know, meat, raw meat on the streets, and everything's got flies
They
and
butcher it on the
runs in
streets,
it.
don't they?
They got no disease, you
They
know.
butcher it on the street too, don't they? They do it.
No, they
They
butcher
used
it and then bring it.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, they may cut some of it
Yeah.
right there in front of me. flies are all over
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah, but Aajon-
Eat it with it right there.
Don't you think that the real war is here in the United States? I mean, this is where the battle is going to be won or lost, right? You can't let go of your
In Canada,
passions
here in England,
Yeah.
What
and in
war?
Europe.
Yeah.
About food?
So, you know, I
All
go to these
wars.
primitive places.
A war, period.
What are you
They're
leaving?
killing themselves.
Well, it's going to be a long process.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm going to build 12 health centers over the planet. But the place where I will probably live is the most primitive. But each one of these locations is going to have a farm, because that's part of the health center.
That's
So
cool.
it's going to be completely self-sustaining, solar generated, everything.
Wow, that's exciting.
So they're not going to be, in fact, we're doing a declaration of independence for this little, for each of these little centers. They're going to be like the Indians, you know, or like a certain religious sect where we can be completely autonomous.
So you really want to live? Like you
Well, the
really
United
want
States is getting pretty bad.
No, but you personally must really want to live.
I want to live.
To just, I know that's the name of the book and it's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
But you really want to live, like you don't
Yeah.
want anybody to.
Right.
To
Now,
affect-
nobody's going to dictate what kind of health I can have.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm going to dictate that.
Good for you.